So use case 1 is return on ad spend. That I was talking earlier, and let's see how we do the return on ad spend. So return on ad spend is basically how each dollar translates into the gross revenue. So revenue by media cost, so each dollar, how much is that? How much am I yielding? Per dollar is basically return on ad spend, and it helps you identify overspending, unrealized potential and more. So revenue divided by media cost gives me. Now media cost is received by the platforms like Adform, Ubrain, DoubleClick Campaign Manager, or by Excel. However, revenue is derived from Criteo, Bing Ads, DoubleClick Search, Twitter Ads, etc. You know we need to have a combination between the two, right? So what happens is we need a calculated measurement, because now that the data streams of media costs are Adform, Ubrain, DoubleClick Campaign Manager, and data streams for revenue are Criteo, Bing Ads and DoubleClick Search, so we don't have literally any connection between the both. So, thanks to calculated measurements, which are which are workspace level calculations, which help us do the ROS computation. So calculated measurements, again you go to Connect and Mix. From there you go to Measurements, from there you choose Calculated Measurement. You name it as ROS. We know that ROS is a percentage. We can choose any of the decimal places if I want to, like 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, etc. What we do is we go to the expression pane where we choose revenue divided by media cost. There is a field called Advanced, which basically helps us at the granularity. Once you are there, you will see that you see total aggregation function. Below that you see granularity. So granularity is at a campaign level. Why? Because we want our ROS to be calculated with context of campaign key. In other words, we want ROS to be calculated per campaign key, and we want to see that how each campaign has contributed towards the ad spend and the revenue gain. Why we are adding a granularity? We are adding a granularity to our calculation. Firstly, to add context. Secondly, we want to see the return on ad spend per campaign basis. We are adding the granularity of campaign key so that our return on ad spend calculation works per campaign key, and we can see that value in our end result. We also need to add an aggregation function. So the next slide talks of that part so media cost by revenue is giving me the ROS. Hey, revenue divided by media cost is giving us the return on ad spend. Fine, but what I want is per campaign basis. So you see the next. When we add the campaign context, the calculation calculates the values. Keeping in context the campaign keys. For each campaign keys, we see that there is a calculation that's happening and we get the context of it. So what it does is it takes the revenue of each campaign key and divides it by each campaign key. So precision and accuracy is something which happens, which is always the end goal, and precision and accuracy stays when we add campaign key and we do the calculation of our results. Lastly, we have the aggregation method, and when we know that it is a percentage, we know that, we have to select an average when we have a percentage. So our aggregation function is an average aggregation. So that's how it looks like. Like when we always verify your fields using the pivot table option, and we see that in the pivot table we have it. So now that we have ROS calculated, we can use ROS with all my functions like conversion tags, CTRs, heat maps, top 5 ROS, etc. So calculated measurement not only helps us with calculating a new measurement calculating a measurement that is helpful for, seeing the performance of our native parts, rather, also, calculated measurements are something which helps us with creating a new measurement which, along with my native things, can produce separate graphs, which makes